Prepare to embark on a journey through the Chernobyl exclusion zone, where we'll explore 15 of the weirdest animals that have adapted to life in this radioactive wasteland. Despite the disaster's devastating effects, these resilient creatures have managed to survive, mutate, and even thrive in this unlikely environment. Number 1. Przewalski's horses. Among the most notable inhabitants of the Chernobyl exclusion zone are the Przewalski's horses, the last surviving subspecies of wild horse. Originally native to Mongolia, these horses were introduced to the region as part of a conservation effort in the 1990s. Since then, the population has expanded and thrived in the absence of human interference. These hardy creatures are characterized by their stocky build, short legs, and distinctive dun color with a dark dorsal stripe running down their back. Scientists have been monitoring the Przewalski's horses in Chernobyl to better understand how they have adapted to the high levels of radiation. Surprisingly, they seem to be coping well, with no obvious health issues or deformities. Researchers attribute their resilience to the horse's ability to forage on a wide range of vegetation, as well as the lack of competition for resources and the absence of predators. As a result, the Przewalski's horses in Chernobyl are providing valuable insights into the species' ability to survive and reproduce in contaminated environments. It is important to note that the horse's presence in the Chernobyl exclusion zone has not been without controversy. Some conservationists argue that the introduction of a non-native species could potentially have negative impacts on the local ecosystem. Others, however, believe that the benefits of establishing a viable population of this critically endangered species outweigh any potential risks. Regardless of the debate, the Przewalski's horses of Chernobyl continue to captivate scientists and animal lovers alike with their remarkable ability to adapt and survive in the face of adversity. Number 2. Radioactive wolves. The wolves of Chernobyl are perhaps some of the most iconic and enigmatic inhabitants of the exclusion zone. These elusive predators have established themselves as the region's top carnivores, taking advantage of the lack of human presence and hunting a variety of prey, including deer, boar, and smaller mammals. Researchers have observed that the wolf population in Chernobyl has grown significantly since the disaster, with some estimates suggesting that it is now 7 times larger than that in surrounding uncontaminated areas. Despite the high levels of radiation, these wolves appear to be relatively healthy, showing no obvious signs of radiation-related diseases or deformities. However, scientists have detected elevated levels of radioactive isotopes in their fur, bones, and teeth. This suggests that the wolves are indeed exposed to radiation through their diet, but they seem to be remarkably resilient to its effects. The Chernobyl wolves have become a subject of great scientific interest, as researchers hope to understand the factors contributing to their ability to survive in such a hostile environment. Their ongoing study could provide valuable insights into the long-term effects of radiation exposure on wildlife and may help inform strategies for managing other contaminated ecosystems around the world. Number 3. Bizarre bats. Another group of animals that have managed to adapt to life in the Chernobyl exclusion zone is the diverse population of bats. Over 30 different bat species have been identified in the region, taking refuge in abandoned buildings, caves, and forests. The absence of human disturbance has allowed these nocturnal creatures to thrive, despite the risks posed by radiation. Interestingly, research has shown that some bat species in Chernobyl have developed a unique adaptation to cope with the radiation. Scientists have discovered that certain bats have a higher concentration of melanin in their skin, which is thought to provide protection against the harmful effects of radiation. This adaptation may help explain why these bats are able to persist in such a challenging environment. While the long-term effects of radiation exposure on the bat population remain unclear, the presence of these fascinating creatures in Chernobyl provides yet another example of nature's ability to adapt and survive in the most unexpected circumstances. Number 4. Gigantic catfish. The waters within the Chernobyl exclusion zone are home to some truly enormous catfish, particularly in the cooling ponds of the nuclear power plant. Some of these behemoths are said to measure up to 9 feet in length, with weights exceeding 400 pounds. While catfish are known to grow quite large, the size of those found in Chernobyl has captured the imagination of many. It is widely speculated that the absence of fishing and human activities has allowed these catfish to grow to such impressive sizes, rather than the radiation being a direct cause of their growth. Additionally, catfish are opportunistic feeders, consuming a variety of prey, including smaller fish, aquatic insects, and even small mammals, which have also flourished in the exclusion zone. Researchers have been studying these gigantic catfish to better understand their ability to survive and grow in the contaminated waters. Preliminary findings suggest that the fish do contain higher levels of radioactive isotopes compared to their counterparts in uncontaminated waters. However, it appears that they are remarkably resilient to the effects of radiation, much like the other wildlife in the area. Number 5. Mutant spiders. Among the creepy crawlies that inhabit the Chernobyl exclusion zone are spiders, some of which have exhibited unusual traits and adaptations as a result of the radiation. Researchers have discovered that certain species of spiders in the area have developed irregular web patterns, unlike those seen in their non-contaminated counterparts. Studies on these mutant spiders have revealed that the high levels of radiation may be affecting their neurological functions, leading to the observed irregularities in web construction. Additionally, some spiders have been found with physical deformities, such as extra or missing legs, which could be attributed to the radiation exposure. Despite these abnormalities, the spider population in the exclusion zone appears to be thriving, demonstrating the remarkable ability of these arachnids to adapt to their environment. The study of these mutant spiders could provide valuable insights into the impact of radiation on invertebrates and their potential for survival in contaminated ecosystems. Number 6. Unusual birds. The skies of the Chernobyl exclusion zone are home to an array of unusual bird species, displaying remarkable adaptations to the radioactive environment. Over 200 bird species have been identified in the region, with some exhibiting distinct physical and behavioral changes in response to the radiation. One of the most striking examples is the prevalence of partial albinism among the bird population. Birds with patches of white feathers, a condition known as leucism, have been observed more frequently in the exclusion zone compared to uncontaminated areas. This increased incidence of leucism is believed to be a result of genetic mutations caused by radiation exposure. In addition to these physical changes, some bird species have demonstrated altered behaviors, such as changes in mating calls and nesting habits. Researchers have found that certain birds, such as the great tit, produce songs with a higher frequency in the exclusion zone, potentially as an adaptation to the increased background radiation levels. While some bird species seem to have adapted well to the contaminated environment, others have struggled to survive. Studies have shown that some species exhibit reduced reproductive success and increased mortality rates in areas with high radiation levels. Nevertheless, the diversity and adaptability of the bird population in Chernobyl remain a testament to nature's resilience in the face of adversity. Number 7. Albino moose. A rare and striking sight within the Chernobyl exclusion zone is the albino moose, an animal characterized by its completely white coat and pale blue eyes. These majestic creatures are not a separate species, but rather a genetic variant of the Eurasian moose, with their unique appearance resulting from a lack of melanin, the pigment responsible for coloration in animals. While albino moose are exceptionally rare in the wild, the Chernobyl exclusion zone appears to provide a unique environment for their survival. The lack of human activity in the area has allowed these animals to thrive, relatively undisturbed by hunting and habitat destruction. Additionally, the absence of predators, such as wolves in some parts of the exclusion zone, has contributed to their increased presence. It is unclear whether the occurrence of albinism in moose within the Chernobyl exclusion zone is related to radiation exposure or simply a natural genetic variation. Regardless, the presence of these enigmatic animals adds to the growing list of unusual wildlife that has adapted to life in this challenging and unique environment. Number 8. Misshapen swans. Among the various waterfowl that inhabit the Chernobyl exclusion zone, misshapen swans have caught the attention of researchers and wildlife enthusiasts alike. These elegant birds, known for their grace and beauty, have been observed with various physical deformities in the contaminated environment, including crooked necks, bent beaks, and irregularly shaped wings. While swans are typically resilient creatures, it is believed that the radiation exposure within the exclusion zone has resulted in genetic mutations that lead to these deformities. Despite their misshapen appearance, these swans appear to be surviving and even breeding in the contaminated waters. The study of these misshapen swans provides valuable insights into the impact of radiation on avian species and the potential long-term effects on their populations. Moreover, these birds serve as a poignant reminder of the lasting consequences of human-caused disasters on the natural world. Number 9. Puzzling frogs. The wetlands and ponds within the Chernobyl exclusion zone are home to a variety of puzzling frogs, displaying intriguing adaptations and abnormalities as a result of the radioactive environment. Some of these amphibians have been observed with extra or missing limbs, malformed eyes, and unusual coloration. Researchers have been investigating these puzzling frogs to better understand how they have adapted to the high levels of radiation in their habitat. Studies have shown that certain frog species have developed increased levels of antioxidants in their bodies, which help to counteract the harmful effects of radiation exposure. Although many of these frogs exhibit abnormalities, they continue to persist in the contaminated environment, demonstrating the remarkable adaptability of these amphibians. The study of these puzzling frogs may provide valuable information on the long-term impact of radiation exposure on aquatic ecosystems and the potential for survival of amphibian species in the face of environmental challenges. Number 10. Strange lynxes. The dense forests and abandoned structures of the Chernobyl exclusion zone provide an ideal habitat for the elusive Eurasian lynx. These solitary predators have adapted well to the environment, despite the challenges posed by radiation. Interestingly, some lynxes in the area have been observed with unusual coat patterns and coloration, as well as altered hunting behaviors. The cause of these strange characteristics is not yet fully understood, but it is speculated that radiation-induced genetic mutations may play a role. Despite these anomalies, the lynx population in the exclusion zone appears to be thriving, taking advantage of the abundant prey and lack of human disturbance. The presence of these strange lynxes in Chernobyl offers an opportunity to study the impact of radiation on large carnivore populations and the potential for adaptation in the face of environmental stressors. The impact of radiation on the lynx population in the Chernobyl exclusion zone extends beyond their physical appearance. Researchers have noticed changes in the animal's reproductive behaviors and social dynamics. For instance, lynxes in the exclusion zone seem to have larger territories and a more solitary lifestyle, which may be a response to the altered ecosystem and prey availability. Furthermore, the study of these strange lynxes has broader implications for our understanding of wildlife management and conservation efforts in contaminated areas. By examining the effects of radiation on their behavior, reproduction, and overall health, scientists can better predict how other large carnivore populations might respond to similar environmental challenges. The ongoing research on these elusive creatures continues to reveal the complex ways in which nature adapts to human-induced disturbances. Number 11. European bison. Another remarkable mammal that has found a home in the Chernobyl exclusion zone is the European bison. These massive herbivores, which were once on the brink of extinction, have been reintroduced to the region as part of conservation efforts. Surprisingly, the bison have adapted well to the contaminated environment, with populations growing steadily over the years. The success of the European bison in the exclusion zone is attributed to the absence of human interference and the availability of suitable habitat. Researchers are closely monitoring these animals to better understand their resilience to radiation exposure and the potential implications for future conservation efforts. The resurgence of the European bison population in the Chernobyl exclusion zone is not only a testament to the species' adaptability, but also an important conservation success story. Prior to their reintroduction, the European bison was nearly extinct in the wild, with only a small number of individuals remaining in captivity. The Chernobyl exclusion zone provided a unique opportunity to re-establish this species in a protected environment, free from human interference. The success of the European bison in Chernobyl has led to discussions on the potential for similar reintroduction efforts in other contaminated or protected areas. By closely monitoring the health and reproductive success of the bison population in the exclusion zone, scientists can gain valuable insights into the feasibility of such initiatives and better understand the long-term impact of radiation exposure on large herbivores. Number 12. Deformed butterflies. The diverse insect life in the Chernobyl exclusion zone includes a variety of butterfly species, some of which have exhibited deformities as a result of radiation exposure. Researchers have observed butterflies with malformed wings, extra or missing appendages, and irregular coloration patterns. Studies have shown that the high levels of radiation in the area can cause genetic mutations in butterflies, leading to these deformities. Despite their unusual appearance, many of these deformed butterflies are able to survive and reproduce in the contaminated environment. The study of these insects provides valuable insights into the impact of radiation on invertebrate populations and their ability to adapt to challenging conditions. The prevalence of deformed butterflies in the Chernobyl exclusion zone raises important questions about the potential long-term impact of radiation exposure on insect populations and their role in ecosystems. Butterflies serve as pollinators for a variety of plant species and are an important food source for many predators, such as birds and bats. As such, any disturbances to their populations can have ripple effects throughout the ecosystem. Researchers are particularly interested in understanding how the genetic mutations caused by radiation exposure may impact the butterfly's ability to reproduce and adapt to their environment. For instance, some studies have suggested that certain deformed butterflies may have reduced flight capabilities or altered mating behaviors, which could affect their overall reproductive success. By closely examining the life history and ecology of these deformed butterflies, scientists can better predict the potential consequences of radiation exposure on insect populations and their role in maintaining the balance of ecosystems in contaminated areas. Number 13. Odd grasshoppers. The grasslands and meadows within the Chernobyl exclusion zone are inhabited by a variety of grasshopper species, some of which display odd characteristics as a result of the radiation. These insects have been observed with unusual body shapes, irregular coloration patterns, and altered behaviors. Researchers investigating these odd grasshoppers have discovered that the radiation in the area can cause genetic mutations, which in turn lead to these unusual traits. While some grasshoppers may struggle to survive due to their deformities, others appear to adapt and persist in the challenging environment. The study of these peculiar grasshoppers sheds light on the impact of radiation on insect populations and the potential for adaptability in the face of environmental stressors. It also offers valuable insights into the ways in which ecosystems can evolve and change in response to human-caused disasters. Beyond their physical appearance, odd grasshoppers in the Chernobyl exclusion zone exhibit several changes in their behavior and life history. For example, researchers have observed shifts in their mating calls, with some grasshoppers producing altered or even entirely new calls in the contaminated environment. These changes in communication may impact their reproductive success and potentially lead to the evolution of new subspecies over time. In addition, the impact of radiation on grasshopper populations has broader implications for the entire ecosystem. Grasshoppers serve as an essential food source for a wide variety of predators, including birds, reptiles, and small mammals. Any disruptions to their populations can have cascading effects on the entire food web. By studying the effects of radiation exposure on these odd grasshoppers, scientists can better understand the complex interactions between different species within the ecosystem and evaluate the long-term consequences of human-induced environmental changes. Number 14. Intriguing foxes. The red fox is one of the most adaptable mammals on the planet, and its presence in the Chernobyl exclusion zone is no exception. These clever carnivores have taken advantage of the absence of humans and established themselves as one of the area's primary predators. Researchers have been intrigued by the fox's ability to adapt to the contaminated environment and have been studying their behaviors and overall health. Although many foxes in the exclusion zone appear to be healthy, some have been observed with unusual traits, such as atypical fur coloration and patterns. It is unclear whether these intriguing characteristics are a direct result of radiation exposure or a natural variation within the population. Regardless, The presence of these foxes in Chernobyl provides yet another example of the remarkable adaptability of wildlife in the face of environmental challenges. Apart from their unique appearance and adaptability, the intriguing foxes in the Chernobyl exclusion zone also provide valuable insights into the behavior and ecology of these animals in human-free environments. The absence of human activity and hunting pressure has allowed researchers to study the fox's natural behavior, social structure, and interactions with other species in an undisturbed setting. Some intriguing foxes in the area have also demonstrated a surprising level of curiosity and boldness, approaching humans and even accepting food from them. This behavior could be attributed to the lack of human presence in the area for an extended period, which may have reduced the fox's fear of humans. Understanding the impact of human activity on fox behavior and their role in the ecosystem can provide essential information for wildlife management and conservation efforts, particularly in the face of increasing human encroachment on natural habitats. The number 15, eerie hedgehogs. Chernobyl exclusion zone has become an unexpected refuge for an array of wildlife, including the small yet resilient hedgehog. These spiky, insectivorous mammals have adapted to life in the radioactive environment, displaying eerie characteristics that have piqued the interest of researchers and animal enthusiasts alike. One of the most striking features observed in some Chernobyl hedgehogs is their unusual coloration. While hedgehogs typically have a brown or gray coat with white underbellies, several individuals in the exclusion zone have been found with patches of lighter or darker fur, or even completely white spines. Researchers believe that these unique color patterns may be a result of genetic mutations caused by radiation exposure. In addition to their odd appearance, hedgehogs in the Chernobyl exclusion zone have demonstrated some intriguing behaviors. For instance, some individuals have been observed to be more active during the day, a stark contrast to their typical nocturnal habits. This change in behavior may be an adaptation to the altered ecosystem in the area, where the absence of human disturbance and the availability of abundant food sources have shifted the balance of predator-prey dynamics. Hedgehogs in Chernobyl also appear to be quite resilient to the effects of radiation. Researchers have conducted studies on these animals, measuring the levels of radioactive isotopes in their tissues and investigating any potential health issues. Surprisingly, many of the hedgehogs in the area seem to be in relatively good health, with no obvious signs of radiation-related diseases or deformities. This resilience may be partly due to their natural ability to tolerate a wide range of environmental conditions, as well as their relatively short lifespans, which limit their exposure to the long-term effects of radiation. Despite their eerie characteristics and the challenges posed by the contaminated environment, the hedgehog population in the Chernobyl exclusion zone continues to thrive. The ongoing study of these remarkable animals offers valuable insights into the ways in which wildlife can adapt to and survive in human-altered ecosystems, as well as the potential long-term effects of radiation exposure on various species. The presence of hedgehogs and other unusual wildlife in the Chernobyl exclusion zone serves as a poignant reminder of the complex interplay between human activity and the natural world. It highlights the importance of understanding and mitigating the impact of our actions on the environment, and provides a unique opportunity to study the resilience and adaptability of the Earth's diverse inhabitants. As we continue to explore the mysteries of the Chernobyl exclusion zone, we are continually reminded of nature's incredible ability to endure and persevere in even the most challenging circumstances.